Awesome, thank you, Irina, and welcome everyone to that session about real estate. I'm Paul Tremblot. For those that don't know me, I'm leading the startup team at AWS for Europe South, Spain, Italy, and Portugal. I've been with AWS for the last 12 years, and I'm currently leading, or for a couple of months now, like the real estate community at Amazon. So in Madrid, we have been organizing some gatherings and some afterworks with a little group that we are now around 100 people. And today I'm gonna share my personal journey over the last 5-6 years, how everything started, how I came from from 0 to 1 apartment. So first step, developing an investment mindset. So requires a bit of learn and be curious, reading books, listening to podcasts, going to conference like this one. Correlation between budget and excuses. You'll find how you need to really know yourself, and especially the budget you want to bring in. Breaking your mental blockers, scale and velocity. Going into your first apartment and some of the newbie mistakes. So the first step is really having an investor mindset. When I really started looking in 2018, started looking into some podcasts, books around how to invest in real estate, you find a lot of resources. I really like podcast format, on my side, to hear some people that invested and where. And one thing that I got out of these readings and learnings was I wanted to buy apartments, not to live in, but to get to do some rental investments. No, so not owning my own residency, my main residency, and that was a clear mind. Now I knew I wanted to do that, but I was not moving forward. So in 2019, speaking with a colleague from Amazon that recently bought an apartment in Lavapiés, told me, hey man, I started investing, it's super good, I can help you. He built a little company, and he was doing some personal shopper model. I said, okay, let's start looking at it. So I gave him my budget. I said, yeah, something in Madrid, up to 300K, something like this, with putting a bit of some cash, and then with a loan from the bank, etc. And he found me something super good, Calle Calvario in Lavapiés, for the people that know, super central, super good, 60 meters square, 3-bedroom, 250K, everything was good. It looked good on paper, it was in line with the budget I gave him, 250, 300K. The loan was approved by BBVA at 1%, interest rate, not too bad nowadays. I did the 3D design, I was ready. I gave what we call the reservas. That's the very first step, when you want to buy an apartment. So, and then you are committed to buy the apartment. And then suddenly I started looking and said, can I come and measure everything in the apartment just to make sure? Because on my 3D plan, it looks like there are 3 meters square missing. I say, sure, come. I say, yeah, there are 3 meters missing. You told me on Idealista it was 59 or 60 meters square. It's 55 or 54, 56. I'm man, let's negotiate. He said, no, that's the price. If you want to take it, you take it. I said, okay, I don't take the apartment. So what I just realized, I just pressed the big excuse button to not buy the apartment, because I was just not comfortable with the price. 300K, I was wow, it's a lot of money, I'm going to invest. It's 300K to 250, so it's a lot of money. So at least for me at the time. So I said no. So excuse button. But what I realized, so when you look at the price now in Lavapiés for this kind of apartment, 3 balconies, full exterior, it was a ganga. It was really good, no agency fees, it was very, very good, very solid deal. I didn't buy it. So, but what I realized, and this I didn't find it in books, is that you need to know your budget, and most importantly, the proportion of this budget versus your total assets. Taking, I don't know, you have savings into a insurance plan or something, try to take your Amazon stocks, but you need to identify what is your budget versus total asset, or BUFTA. So let's take an example of a project of 300K. If you are planning to put a maximum of 60K, 70K, don't go with a 250K project. That might be too much, So go instead, and this was my case, I felt much more comfortable with going with apartments that were below 100K. And in Spain, you could find at that time a lot, now a bit less, but still, like there are like many cities, you take Gandia, you take Murcia, you take still like second or let's say third league cities, but still very good cities in Spain where you have like good demand and you can find this kind of deals, no? So you need to really be comfortable with that. Otherwise, you will always find like an excuse, like it's like northwest. I wanted really something west or south, but it's northwest. So just like make sure about that. Second stuff. Identify your investment style. You have like basically three main approach like when it comes to investing. When you say, okay, I want to go and invest in Murcia or in Gandia or Valencia. So you are either, I really want city center, like, and in that case, you are kind of, the strategy here is called like patrimonial. Geoffroy will talk more about that. So here, your bet is the price, overall price of the apartment will increase. You buy 250, you expect that you will get to 400K in 5 years, maybe, something like that. On the other hand, you're buying 250K, maybe your rent will be 1K, $900 euros like per month. So like the overall like rentability, like with the rent, might not be like so high. Then you have like the outside the city. If you take Madrid, for example, maybe Móstoles or like outside the city, you will have like higher rentability, but lower chance to have like an increase in price of the per meter square. My favorite strategy that I found like the most balanced is you go like you target areas that are like very close to the city center, and that have like the good balance between potential increase of the price of your apartment and also like a good rentability around like 8, 7, 8, 9, 10%. Like when you look up the rent multiplied by 12 and divided by the price of the apartment. Okay. So you have your style of apartment. Now, like, where are you going to invest? So you need to use data. We are like Amazonian, we love to use data, right? So, but be careful with that, because when you want to control every single aspect, you can go just crazy and lose the focus. So, and I kind of at some point like lost the focus. So first stuff I did at that time is going macro. You go on Google, what are the best cities to invest in Spain? Boom, and you will have like some results. At that time, I found Sevilla was one of the top cities to invest in Spain. It was like 5 years ago. And I was like, okay, like in the top 5, there is Sevilla. My wife is from Sevilla, so I will have some opportunities to go there, and I feel comfortable. I know the cities a bit, and I like it. So let's go there. And then I did what are like the best barrios to invest in Sevilla, more or less, okay? And then you go on Idealista, and it's very simple. You know, like, your budget is 100K. We define it. We know like our BUFTA, we are comfortable with that. We know we are not going to find excuses. Then, boom, 100K. And then, like what happens is you start seeing a lot of little nodes of apartments and where it might make sense. So I was not comfortable like in going there. I wanted something close to the city center. And there was like an area called La Macarena. And this became like my focus area. Then what I did is you pick some apartments on Idealista in the area, and then, I mean, you just check. In Idealista, it's a fantastic platform. You can see how many people see the apartment, save it like in favorites, send emails. So you can really see like a stock, you know, you have like fake stock market where you can play with stocks, buying, selling. Here it's the same. You put one in favorite and you see how fast like they go when you as renting, like if you put yourself, and you see how many people are interested, etc. Or like for buying the same. But don't do that. Like what I did at that time, and some people might be like in that mindset, I started scraping Idealista so badly. Like, I mean, every day I was like downloaded all the latest 200 listings that just like got out, to find out exactly at 1 meter square, like which kind of like rentability I might expect. And in the end, it's too much. And what made me like the difference is like, on one hand, thanks to that, I was able to spot a very, very good opportunity. I reached out to the real estate agent to visit the apartment the day after. We had a wedding in Sevilla. At 9 a.m., the guy was there on Saturday. I met him and I just started sharing my project. I want to invest in real estate. I want to rent it for students or for like this. What do you think? He said, man, this apartment is very good, but it's not like your style. Let's go, come with me. I will show you the streets. So here, this is a Macarena. It's a very, very big area. Now, this street, avoid. this street, buy, this street, buy. And then I restrain like my area on Idealista. As soon as there was like an opportunity that popped up, boom, I started. I said, okay, I asked my suegra to go and visit the apartment. She said, it looks good. I said, let's go. Like that was, but I had like to be very fast. But like bottom line here, what made me moving forward was not like because I did the analysis. It's because the agent, the person that I had like a coffee with, showed me the street, I had trust with him and he told me buy in this area. And when the opportunity occurred, like I get it. So if you want, walk by the area and observe. I mentioned my suegra. I love my suegra. Like, but when I told her like, hey, I'm going to invest in La Macarena, she was like, are you crazy, man? Like, it's north Sevilla. It's 15 minutes walk from the very city center of Sevilla. It's okay. Like, and then I said, okay, Sunday morning, let's go and let's try. Walking by the area, I said, what do we see? People, young couples, like retired people, easy. Okay, it's okay. Like, could you spend like 1 or 2 days here? Yes, no problem. Would you live there? Maybe not, but it's okay. Like familia humildes, it's okay. Then, yeah, like as I mentioned before, start when you know like you are almost sure about the area. Start saving some deals on Idealista to see a bit what's like how they behave. No? Then breaking mental blockers. That's my favorite part. So the mental blockers of apartment imperfection, northwest, like energetical class that is F or D, or like, okay. So the first one here, it's on purpose. It's a purple kitchen. I wouldn't put a purple kitchen in my apartment for myself. Okay. Now you're having an apartment. It's at very good price, and you say, "Oh, I love this apartment, but there is a purple kitchen," and you're like, "No, man, it's a brand new kitchen. You're not going to destroy the brand new kitchen. It's okay, like because you don't like purple kitchen, but like you might have like a tenant that say, wow, it's a brand new kitchen. Like all the other apartments I saw were horrible kitchens. So it's okay." Second stuff, 3rd floor without elevator. You know why? I've been living in Paris. People in very, very nice area go up to 6th floor. In Madrid, nowadays, it's the same. When I was like looking for apartment in Madrid, oh man, do you think really people would buy an apartment 4th floor without elevator? Yes, they would go every day because like people like to do sports. I'm living in a 5th floor with elevator. I'm doing the walk like every day. So it's fine. You will find someone. And plus you have like more lights. So see the pros, not the cons. And this is my very favorite. So this is an apartment. This was my second apartment, okay? I wanted to do like complete reforma. So I arrived here and say, oh, okay, it looks, yeah. So who would buy this on Idealista? Probably not a lot of people. Especially when you have like this dude, like it's very, I mean, like some people are in shock, you know? So, but yeah, that was like how it was, like in good shape. So now close your eyes. And after 2 months of renovation, like you have like a brand new apartment, like with some IKEA muebles, and you have something clean. Okay, so you need to project a bit yourself, and that's it. The other mental blocker is, will I really find a tenant? Yes, you will find. Like Spain, like lacks a lot of apartments and houses, so we are in a tense market. So it's totally fine. You will find a tenant, and think about worst case scenario. You look in Idealista. And you take like, what can I get for this apartment that I want to buy? And I get like the lowest price. Okay, like if like the lowest price like you have in the area for something similar is 700, take the worst case. Like you put like 600 euros instead of 700. You will find someone, okay? So no worries for that. And check. Is it the right time to buy? Oh, I heard price will go down. Like some people like told me like, I can find a better deal, etc. Be careful with the time because time flies. Like I missed the opportunity on Lavapiés. I regret. Now I moved forward in other areas. But it's always a good time if you find the right opportunity and you bring some value added. The worst case, if you are like in an investor mindset, is to buy an apartment. We have towels and candles on the table. It's like turnkey solution. You can leave and have like a bath in the apartment the day after. Like what you want is something ideally where you bring something, you break the wall between the kitchen and the living room, like big over, you know, like, it's easy, yeah. Like so, but it's a good one. And I will share like now like a very very true example that's come from last year where I bought with my wife. I said, hey, like it's a different area in Seville. I will not give the name here, but I mean, it's, so I was like pretty like experienced in buying in Seville. I had like already 4 or 5. I said, okay, let's change area. Let's go in, okay, it's called like, it's called the Triana for the one that know the area. You have like Triana and Triana, so careful with that. And I said, look, very good deal. You know, it's close to the metro. There is a very nice park, Parque de los Príncipes, super close by. Like it's very nice and very close to the most expensive area in Seville. On paper, very good. So I said, look, let's go. Like it's very sure. Like it's very secure purchase. Let's go. I know also like someone like to do that, but that's very good. So we did that. Pretty cool. Like it was very bad, like in very bad shape. We did it clean, like so we put it like on Idealista, super happy. We find a tenant. We have someone paying like the price we were expecting, ready to sell. We start having like the first alquiler. So this is our house. And we realized very fast that there was like a little problem in the area. Okay. So, but the story is okay. Like in the end, we were like in the end we did what we call like a kind of a white operation. So we didn't do like so we bought it like 106 and we resold like a few months later for 135. We put some decent like amount of work in it. But in the end, we made like 400, like 700 after tax, everything. Okay, so it was like time invested, but in the end, but so moral of the story, actually resold like the apartment to the AWS startup customer. And it was okay. He understood like the neighborhood, etc. So that's, I mean, try to do to add some value. Other one and super important, scale and velocity, especially if you are not in the city you want to invest in. So speed matters. That's like the number one thing you need to remember here. Like because most of the time you're like, I want my mom to visit. In my case, it was like my suegra, but thanks God, like she was super close to the place. But you need to be fast. You don't have like the time to show like all your friends, what do you think, etc. Good deals go super fast, and so you need to be ready and have like a local agent. That's what allowed me to scale in Seville. I had someone I built trust with, the person that showed me like the area. In the case of Valencia, I bought in Valencia, and it was like through Terreta that helped me like identify like the right spot. But that's critical because people like go very fast, especially for apartments below 100K nowadays. So you need to know and to be sure about it. Your number one apartment. So I would say go easy on the first one. I shared like the complete reshape of the apartments, etc. It's not always needed. If you feel you can do it, or you are like working with a company, you can do it. But just think big, start small. Like start learning all the process, go through all the things, all the paperwork. This was like my first apartment, 65K in Seville, like very close to the city center. And it was completely furnished. So I had like to change a window and repaint a bit the walls, and that was it. And I was like very comfortable. But the second one, I decided to go completely smash it, like completely reform. Newbie mistake to kind of close. So know your real budget versus like going with something. I can. 300. With a loan, I can. Or like. Be comfortable with the budget. Otherwise, like you will go crazy. The people that help you invest, like same. You don't always need to negotiate the price. If there is like a good deal on the market, just go for it. Don't wait like, I read on a book that you need to always negotiate. No, if like the price needs to be negotiated, is a guy like try to put the price above market price, and then you're not buying at the right price. So if you know what is the right price, and then buy it at the right price. Getting a loan takes more time than you think. So it's not like, hey, I'm Amazon, like the guy will go super fast to give me the loan. No, there are like a lot of things to check before buying an apartment with a loan. And the loan can you make also like lose a deal, because let's imagine a deal 65K. The guy say, I have someone like with like 2 maletas of cash that want to buy it. Like I don't want you to try to get a loan and then maybe not have it. Like so keep in mind that it's and you have like a date that you need to commit on to sign it. So be a bit sure about that. I'm working, by the way, with BBVA, super good. I mean, They are, I mean, I'm happy to share more about it like in a side conversation, but BBVA and Open Bank, I really like them. Don't go for insane rentability rates. If you see and read people, anything below 15%, don't buy it, man, stupid. Like, I mean, anything like in the market that gives you between 7 to 10%, and I'm speaking when you do the Idealista average rent multiplied by 12 divided by the price on Idealista, anything between 8 to 10, it's okay. It's very okay. Like so don't, otherwise like it means like you are trying to rent it, or it's a lot of work or a lot of risk. Total cost of a 10 years loan of 100K at 3% is not 3K. That sounds like ridiculous, but I mean, this is a compound effect of loans. So just keep in mind, because like the first loan I had, I was checking like all the months here. I was like, oh man, like it's like 15K in the end. Yes, so it's not like just the full cost. Okay, Purple Kitchen can be rented. Don't miss a good opportunity because it's slightly higher than the initial budget. If you have like the potential, don't be like blocked on. I say like 100K, it needs to be 100K. If it's 105 and the deal is very good, try to stretch you a bit. It can be worth it. Don't spend months analyzing data. Exchange with people that know the market. The thing that the example I always use is, in my case in Valencia, I've been spending almost 1 year looking at the market, trying to replicate what I did in Seville. And I spent 1 year analyzing the market, not buying. And because I was like, man, it's like I already spent 12K because the type of apartment I was looking at, like 1K per month kind of rent. And I say, okay, let's go with like personal shopper. And this is when I met I was sharing that I wanted to go with personal shopper, and this is when I met Terreta. So try to, like, if you spend too much time like analyzing, change the strategy. Like it means you need some help or stuff. And it's easier than you think. Like it takes a lot of courage like to go with the first one, but it's easier than you think. Bias for action, define your real budget, identify the stage you want to invest, identify good deals using data, save them and observe the interest they get, connect with real estate agent or brokers, and walk by the area by yourself. And most important, and feel free like to scan, it's a working QR code. Like we have Imo Amazon community where we're like sharing some contacts, some cities to invest, deals. And thanks to this community, I've met David that recommended me a deal in Malaga. Thanks to him that I bought like last week. So thanks a lot, David, for that. So yeah, that's it. These are like my contact details as well. If you want to contact anytime, happy to share. I had like a couple of lunch in the last weeks with some people that start investing. It's always a pleasure to share a passion about that, and feel free to ping me anytime. Okay. Thank you. So now I'm passing it to Geoffroy from Terreta. That is a company I've had the chance to work with. And again, I say it, and it's true. Like the best deal I ever done, like in my carpeta, in my portfolio, was in Valencia, 92K. That 2 years ago. That became like a 180 valuation and rent at 1K. So yeah, thank you.
I'll take the.
Yeah.
Okay guys, so I'll try to be pretty much as Paul, efficient, and try to give some specific advice, things that you can take from today and use it tomorrow. The first thing for Star Wars fan and for pretty much anyone, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. That's probably the biggest advice and the one phrase you need to learn and really like sink in. That phrase basically and that sentence is very important, because if you make a good buy, like Paul said, he bought 10 flats. If you buy a flat, even if you make some mistakes at first, let's say you rent it not in the right way, you can change things after and you can improve and increase your rentability. Okay, so the return on investment, Paul was saying, some people will tell you, okay, if you don't have 15%, don't buy, whatever. That's bullshit. Also because with time, you can increase the rentability by changing from, let's say, an entire flat to a bedroom per bedroom, or from a bedroom per bedroom to a short-term Airbnb. Okay, so as long as you buy well, then you're going to improve everything with time. That's what really matters. The other thing is, with time, real estate tends to increase in prices, as obviously Spanish people have seen, but pretty much anybody has seen. Sometimes you have crisis, but even when you have crisis, it's not as bad as you think it is. I know that a lot of people, especially in the video conference, can be in other countries, will speak about something which I think is very important. I bought in Spain and I bought in France when I was living in Switzerland, and then France, and then Spain. So you can buy from anywhere to anywhere. Maybe something that could ring a bell for many people is this by Socrates, which is, I'm not Athenian or Greek, but a citizen of the world. In my case, and in the case of many European people, maybe you don't feel a citizen of the world, but a European citizen. And maybe like buying in your home country and also in another country in Europe is not scary. So think about the real estate markets in Europe that make more sense than the others. And Spain is definitely one of them. Also for the people watching us from video conference who can live abroad or living in Madrid and wanting to buy in another city in Spain, the idea of what we've created and the idea of the whole property finder business is making you buy from your sofa. This is important because most people that actually invest in real estate have a full-time job and a job that takes them, like 50 hours, 60 hours a week, so they don't have time to do real estate search on top of the rest. Maybe you have a family, you have kids, you have friends, you don't want to sacrifice your weekends and your evenings, right? So we'll talk about a few things. First of all, who am I to speak to you guys about real estate? So I'll talk to you about my investment like Paul did. I think that's a good start. And who is Terreta Spain, so the company that I have founded. And then we'll talk about specifically the Spanish market, property prices, mortgage, taxes, rental market, and then requirements to buy, okay? We'll go quick on everything, but I hope that we can talk after about some parts that you guys want to talk about. So before I created the company, I was exactly like in a traditional tech world for many years. So sales director at ProperStar. ProperStar is like Idealista, so property portal, real estate website, but for foreign buyers, okay? So it's a SaaS company. We were doing like selling subscriptions to real estate agents. So it was the real estate sector, but we were not doing real estate, okay? So ProperStar also called this globally, and then I was the MD in Europe for Masteos, which was a rental investment company in France, and then we started Belgium and then Spain, okay? So I was basically exactly where you are, working in companies and having to invest on top of my job, and I know how important it is to delegate. Today I'm 35 and I started investing at 27, so now I have 8 years experience doing that, and I'll talk to you about it. I have 6 apartments. I tend to, let's say, buy a bit bigger apartments because for me, my consideration and my feeling about real estate is every flat, as cheap as it is, as tiny as it is the same mental charge, right? It's the same work. So it's important for you guys to understand, and it's exactly what Paul was saying, what budget are you comfortable with? What budget makes sense for you? And it is definitely a ratio between how much savings you have and what kind of projects you want to do. You can definitely add me on LinkedIn, check Terreta Spain later, and we can talk later. I'll go very quickly on the acquisitions I made just to tell you about things and blockers, exactly like Paul did, that could maybe resonate with you guys. The first acquisition that I did, I was 27. It's a 20 square meters, and everybody around me was telling me, you're buying it too expensive. Why? Because this is a 20 square meters that I bought for 168, no renovation, total project cost 185. I bought it in Lyon, so basically the price per square meter was 8,000 euro per square meter. In Lyon, in 2017, that was like, wow, it's like buying in Madrid today for 20,000 euro per square meter. But in the end, I think it's important when you invest in real estate to know what are you actually buying. In my case, it was like, I knew that my mortgage, because I had calculated it, was going to be 680. I knew that the actual tenant already renting the place was paying 750. So it was cash flow positive. It was neutral at worst. So I bought it, I changed it to an Airbnb, and directly I was making basically twice what it was before. So it was profitable from day one. The reason that I bought this one, and it goes to what Paul was saying, when you buy your first flat, you don't want something too complicated. So I bought this first one with no renovation because I wanted something easy. I was living in Switzerland, I bought in France, I bought a studio flat, and it's something that I understood because I had done my studies in that cities, okay? After that, I went to much more complicated projects from the second project. So you can see some photos of how it was before. So it was a typical grandma apartment looking really ugly, and you really want to destroy everything. So top right is how it finished, and this is the same photo. Huh? It's the same space. So basically, I started doing like buying a place, completely destroying and making it much better. What is interesting in that is when you destroy a flat completely, when you remodel it, this is when you bring value. Because real estate, if you just buy flats, do not renovate and rent it, you never, or very rarely, you're going to make amazing deals. Okay, most of the amazing deals, they're not ready on the retail shelf. You need to go and create it for you, right? So the first thing is renovation. The second thing is, how do you actually rent this flat? My neighbor has the same flat, and he's making every month 800 euros. Okay, we have the same flat, and I'm making 25,000 per year. Actually, now even more than that. So I'm making about 2,500 per month when he's making 800 euros. So I'm making 3 times more than him. Why? Simply because I do bedroom per bedroom, and he's done entire flat. And in Spain, I don't know if you guys know about this, but in Spain there's a law that if you rent the flat entirely to somebody, they have a contract of 5 years. So you can increase the rental price by inflation, but not more. If you do bedroom per bedroom, every time the tenant changes, you can increase the price. So when I started, I was doing a bedroom for 440, and now I'm doing 690 for the most expensive, okay? So like bedroom per bedroom is also a good way, because maybe some of your friends talk to you about ocupas, which is like people who don't pay. When you have a 4-bedroom apartment with 4 different people, you have 4 people making a wire transfer to you. It's diversification. Diversification is not only good in stock market, it's good in real estate. So do it. Do bedroom per bedroom rental in Spain, and you'll see that it's a very profitable business. Okay. Second flat, boom, the same. I was 30 when third flat. I did the same. This is like the bathroom, and what the photos don't tell is when I visited it, there were cockroaches in the stairs of the building. In this flat, you had like 7 people living. You need to know what are you ready to buy. What is okay for you, not okay. So apart from the budget, know what is okay and not okay for you. It's also a 4th without a lift, okay? After that, I did the same, but in Marseille, in France. So we also have Terreta France, all right? So we have Terreta Spain and Terreta France, so we can help people buy in Paris, Marseille, Madrid, and Valencia, so 2 cities in Spain and 2 in France. And I also destroyed everything, as you can see before and after. And this is my latest in Valencia, so I was 33, that was like 2 years ago. And I put voluntarily the Idealista listing, right? Because one of the things that you might do is maybe you have downloaded the app Idealista, and maybe every night you go like, yeah, maybe, how do you decide? At some point you need to move on, okay, what I need is I need to buy the top 1% of the market, but you need to jump. Jumping is not the easiest, and whenever you decide to jump and buy, you need to have done this proper analysis and work. If you do it alone, have done a really good analysis. If you work with a property finder like us, then have someone you trust, so that if it tells you this is a really good opportunity because A, B, C, D, we're gonna do this and that, and then you jump, okay? So this is how we transform this exact space, okay? and this exact bedroom. Okay, so obviously it's not the same flat.
Right.
If you see like before, this is a photo of Gaetano, renovation director, that I took voluntarily. So this is after destruction, and once we had done it, renovated it, decorated it. The objective of doing that is then you can decide whatever you want to do. Do you want to do Airbnb? Perfect. Okay? So like this flat, this month in October, I'm doing 7,000 euro net in 1 month with one flat, 2 bedroom. I rent it as a 2 bedroom. I could change it and I could rent it bedroom per bedroom, okay? And then I would maybe rent it 700 euro per bedroom. And it's 3 bedrooms, I would be making 2,100. Less profitable, still interesting, okay? So think about renting it Airbnb or bedroom per bedroom or long term. It's different prices, different scenarios, but like Paul said also, think about what's my worst case, average, best case, okay? Think about that when you invest. And then I want to talk to you about, but very quickly, about my latest acquisition. Paul mentioned that basically there's always a match, a battle between should you guys, because you live in Madrid, for example, buy in Madrid your primary residence, or should you first do rental investments and later buy your primary house, okay? A lot of people will tell you, buy your primary house first. I think it's a huge mistake. I think that if you can, you should definitely first do rental investments and then buy a primary house later. So this is a flat I just bought in Paris, and the reason I got the mortgage is because my rental revenues helped me get the mortgage to buy it. Okay, so currently the rental revenues that I get cover 100% of the mortgage payment of my primary residence. So it's as if I'm living in my flat for free. Okay, so especially true if you're 25 to 35, let's say, and maybe you're gonna have a family, maybe you're gonna have babies, maybe you're gonna move to another city. It's much better to do rental investments and be a renter of your primary house, okay? Don't think it's a problem. It is not a problem to do that. Also, the flat that I was renting in Paris, I was paying 2,300 euro per month in rent. But if I bought the same flat, it would have been 800,000 euro. But 2,300 euro, I make it in rental revenue in Valencia with a flat of 200,000 euro. So it doesn't make sense. In some cities, and maybe it's the case in Madrid, partially, maybe it's the case in Paris, maybe it's the case in London, it's better to rent your primary house and do rental investments on the side, okay? So I'll go quickly because we don't want to be too long. Who are we? So we are 9 people in the team, serial investors. We have a very strong team of property finders, real estate agents, and renovation in Valencia and Madrid specifically. Okay, so this is the 2 cities that we work the most in Spain. We can also help people buy in other places, in other cities, but this is the core. 6 nationalities. This is very important for me because as you can hear, I'm French, but in the team we have people from Venezuela, Mexico, Argentina, France, Belgium, and Spain. Okay, so like being international is important because we help people who live in Cambodia, who live in Mexico, who live in Colombia to buy in Spain. So we know what it is to buy from very far. Okay, we helped over 150 people to buy in Spain in the last 2 years. And we can do everything. We can help you buy, sell, renovate, decorate, rent, okay? I want to talk to you, so buy, renovate, rent, sell. You can check our website after, Terreta Spain. I want to talk to you about prices in Spain, okay? I want to be quick about it, but I want to make you understand something. If you read the news in Spain, they have a problem, the media, the Spanish media. They have a very big problem. They're only going to talk to you about the property price increase from here to here. And they're going to tell you there's a bubble happening in Spain. It's the biggest lie that you can read in the media, and they're repeating it over and over. The reality of Spanish prices right now, they are back to the level of 2006. Okay? This doesn't happen anywhere else in Europe. I'll show you that with a Eurostat graphic after. If I take Paris in 2006 was 6,000 euro per square meter. Paris today is 10,000 euro, okay? So don't believe the Spanish media, because what they do is it's like it sells a lot of papers to say there's a bubble. People love bubbles. It's like, oh, okay, and you click, of course. So this is why they talk so much about it. If you take an average house, average flat in Spain, 2025, it's now 199, so it's an 80 square meters average in Spain, price of 2005, okay? So again, due to inflation and many other things, this doesn't make sense. Prices in Spain are going to go up. This is the most important, and when you talk about data, this is the kind of data you need to be looking at. Spain, house price increase from 2010 to 2025. Spain is not at all one of the countries where prices have increased the most. Not at all. Hungary, Estonia, Lithuania, yeah, prices have gone 2 times, 3 times. Not Spain. So don't believe what you say. Also, this is the number of new homes built in Spain every year. This is massive. I don't know if you realize, but this is the biggest crisis in Europe, and especially in Spain. There's a massive lack of construction. What does that mean? That means that you have a deficit, especially because population growth in Spain is massive as well. Okay, this is population growth in Spain. The only country in Europe that has grown as much in the past 15 years is France. Okay, both countries have gained 8 million people, and both countries keep increasing. So you have a deficit. This is the deficit projection of houses in Spain until 2039. Okay, because of that, prices cannot go down unless there's a massive economic crisis. Okay, they can't. So don't think, I'm going to wait, prices are going to go down. They're not, especially in the big cities like Madrid and Valencia and Barcelona, okay? So where do you invest? Where do you invest? You guys live in Madrid, where do you invest? For sure you can buy in Madrid. I'm never going to say don't buy in Madrid. Madrid is always going to be Madrid. Paris is always going to be Paris. But when I help people buy in Paris, when I help people buy in Madrid, I never lie to them about the fact that profitability, orange is the worst and dark green is the best. Profitability, you have rankings of comunidades or regions. Valencia, Murcia is the top 2. Madrid and Baleares are the worst 2. When you zoom in and you go to Madrid versus Valencia, of course Madrid doesn't win. Okay, so when you buy in Madrid, you don't win the best rental yield. That's not what you buy. Okay. Another thing, boosting your yield wherever you buy. This is a graph made by Fotocasa, okay? 2015 to 2024. The difference in yield between renting an entire flat, renting a 3-bedroom flat. Plus 50%, from 6% to 9%, average in Spain, okay? So again, it's a way of boosting rentability. Think about it. Renting an entire flat is not the only option. Price per bedroom, also very important. A map in Expansión from pisos.com. An average bedroom in Madrid was 540. An average bedroom in Valencia is 440. What's the difference in price when you buy? Well, the difference in price when you buy, Madrid is 6,000 euros. Valencia is 3,000 times 2. You do not find times 2 here. This is why it's more profitable in Valencia, okay? This is a map, I'm not gonna go over it, of the districts in Valencia just to make you understand data. Not boring data, but important data. If you wanna crunch data, if you wanna do it with like Idealista and yourself play around it, you make a list of the neighborhoods, okay? So this is like the different distritos, so neighborhoods in Valencia. Price for sale, price for rent, annual change, yield. What do we learn from that? It's going back to the graph that Paul was showing before. The top neighborhoods are the cheapest, most profitable. The lowest neighborhood are the most city center, the best placed, okay? And least profitable, okay? So it's correlated. If you buy in the inner city with a view on the Eiffel Tower in Paris, it's not going to be the most profitable, for sure. Okay, so always think about that. Usually, profitability and yield is in the cheapest neighborhood, almost always the case. Okay? Now, how do you get richer through real estate? You're not going to be doing real estate just for the sake of it. How do you get richer? So basically, this is the magic graph of real estate. When you buy real estate, you have the bank that gives you the money to buy the real estate and the tenants that help you pay back to the bank. So basically, in most cases, what you're looking to do is a neutral cash flow or positive cash flow experience. So basically, the bank and the tenants do it all for yourself. It's the most passive thing you can have. Of course, you have down payment at first, so maybe 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, but then this is the magical thing of it. And after time, after 10 years, you have accumulated cash flow and a potential capital gains. Why? Because, of course, the mortgage has gone down during 10 years, and after 10 years, maybe you have only 50% left, and maybe in the meantime, the prices have gone up. So maybe after 10 years, if you buy a typical 200,000 flat, you have 100,000 euro that you can get in your pocket by selling the flat. So time is working for you, okay? I take one example, my first flat, bought it in 2017. I only put 20,000 from my pocket because it was in France, and you didn't need to put a lot of down payment. If I sell it today, I have 91,000 in my pocket, okay? So this is typically the thing. If I sell all of my flats now, I have 1.2 million in my pocket, okay? So basically it's time is gonna make you richer. Not even being the most clever in the room, just time, okay? So buy well and give it time. City center and outskirts, we talked about it. Just one thing. Paul, the neighborhood we helped him buy is Jesus. Even if it's not city center, it is actually the neighborhood where prices have gone up the most in the past 12 months. So buying in the city center is not necessarily better, not for rental yield and not even for price increase. Sometimes some neighborhoods that are a little bit on the outskirts, maybe in Madrid, let's say at some point Puerta del Ángel was really cheaper. If you bought in Puerta del Ángel, even if it was outside of Madrid, then you would get massive capital gains. Okay, so don't think I have to buy city center. Not necessarily. Depends on your city, okay? Why would you work with a property finder or alone? The biggest reason, guys, and maybe like you would only realize it if you have bought alone and have bought with a property finder, have done both. Biggest reason is if you buy alone, it's gonna be massive work and massive timing. So sacrificing your weekends, sacrificing your evenings, this is the biggest sacrifice basically. That's the main reason. The other thing is, if you buy alone, maybe it's gonna take you 1 year, 2 years to jump because you're never gonna feel confident about it. So if you find a really good real estate agent, property finder to work with, you're gonna go quicker. And money's time, like we said, Paul said, it's all about jumping and making the good jumps, all right? Also, a good property finder is gonna make you buy the top 1% apartment of the market. This is not bullshit, it's reality. Why? Because we have off-market, so properties that you don't even see on Idealista. We have professional tools like Casafari, which is one of them, that enable us to look for properties that are not on Idealista, not on Fotocasa, but only on a very small website, okay? And renovation. If you work with a company like us, you're gonna be able to buy properties that require a lot of renovation because we do the renovation for you, okay? And because of that, you're gonna make a better deal, for sure. If you buy already renovated, it's not gonna be a good deal, or very complicated. Mistakes, quickly. Square meter, talked about it already. Savings, do not underestimate the savings required to buy in real estate, okay? If you live abroad and you want to buy in Spain, typically a Spanish bank will give you 70% LTV, loan to value. So you buy a flat of 200,000, the bank is going to give you 140,000. If there's a bit of renovation, whatever, let's say it's 240, so you need to put from your pocket 100,000 euros. Okay? So don't think, oh, it's fine, I have 50,000 euro, I can buy 200,000 euro flat. No. Unless you're Spanish fiscal resident and you buy close to your house and maybe you get a 90% LTV and it's a different scenario, okay? Now, if you live abroad, especially, NIE, foreign identity number, check it out. You can Google NIE Terreta Spain. You need to obtain the NIE. It's a very boring thing to obtain. You need to get it. Mortgage, get pre-approved. Talk to Idealista Hipotecas, talk to Gibops, talk to iAhorro, talk to us, and we'll give you the contacts, but get pre-approved. Gain time, okay? And also on our website, terretaspain.com, you have simulators of savings. Okay, so check it out. Now, the simulator on our website, this one is in French, but it doesn't really matter. It enables you to play with from 70%, so typically being a non-Spanish fiscal resident, to 90% or 80% Spanish fiscal resident to calculate everything. Okay, so just do it. Learn to delegate. That's very important if you want to scale. If you only want to buy one flat in your life, you don't need to. But if you want to buy 10 like Paul did, okay, or if you want to buy one every 2 years or whatever, you need to delegate. Okay, otherwise it's going to be a massive burden for you. Think about that, because if you delegate, you scale. If you don't delegate, you're never going to scale. Interest rates, that's very important. I just flew back yesterday from Egypt. I was in holidays for 3 weeks in Egypt. In Egypt, they have a advertisement about great 19% interest rates mortgages. So if you have a friend that's telling you, I'm not buying because interest rates are 3%, it's too high. Nah, don't do that. Don't get blocked on interest rates, ever. They are 13% in Mexico at the time, they are 7% in the United States to buy real estate, can be 8%, 3% in Europe or 4%, whatever, it's good, okay? So don't get blocked by that. Look at my mortgage payments, my rental revenue, that's it. Don't think about interest rate. That's not what makes or breaks a project. Another mistake I don't want you to make, and I know that from firsthand, do not work with a company that is doing fundraising, okay? Very important. Why? When I was at Masteos, okay, I was the MD for Europe, we were on a VC-backed model. We grew to 500 employees, okay? We raised 70 million euro with VC funds. The problem is, when you scale a company in rental investment, it's a top line thing. You need to grow, grow, grow. So what do? The more time goes, the more you sell bad flats to people, because you need to do volume, okay? So whenever you guys choose a partner to work with, a property finder, a one-stop shop like us, look for a small company that doesn't depend on anybody, that doesn't need to do like top line for the VCs. It's very important. Don't do that mistake, because at some point these models always go down, okay? Also, big data, artificial intelligence to spot the best opportunities. This is worth nothing. Okay, timing.
3 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So taxes, very quickly. If you're a Spanish fiscal resident, you're gonna pay on your rental income, IRPF, so Impuestos sobre la Renta de Personas Físicas. I'll explain in the next slide. If you're living abroad, outside of Spain, so let's say France, Belgium, whatever, you're gonna pay either 19 or 24, but especially if you belong to European Union, 19% not on the gross income, but on the net income, which is rental income minus costs, minus amortizations. Okay, so to be clear, 19% quickly becomes 10%. So if you make 10,000 euro rental income every year, maybe you're going to be paying 1,000 euro per year in taxes. Okay, so taxes is not going to be the problem for you guys. For Spanish fiscal residents, just an example that was done by TaxFix. Okay, so 12,000 euro per year, bottom line 448 euros in taxes. Why? Because you have all of these deductions like amortization, which is the fiscal deduction on the property price, on the renovation, blah, blah, blah. And once you've done all of that, you have usually a deduction of 60%, 50%, it's changing sometimes, but basically a deduction so that you pay even less. So taxes, they're not gonna be the problem, okay? How to rent, we talked about it. Requirements, like I said, just wanna do one quick thing for you guys. If you buy in Madrid, first of all, know that every year, close to 100,000 foreigners are buying in Spain. So you're not gonna be the only one. It doesn't have to be scary because every hour, 10 foreigners are buying in Spain, okay? So that's the first thing. If you buy in Madrid, a minimum property price in Madrid to say something that makes sense is gonna be 250. If you're a Spanish fiscal resident, you're gonna need 75K savings to buy in Madrid if you buy a 250K property. If you're non-Spanish, 115, okay? It's basic numbers, but it gives you an idea. If you buy in Valencia, then, oops, I didn't put it. It's gonna be like 180 minimum, 150, 180, it depends. So your savings are gonna be minimum 55 if you're Spanish fiscal resident, minimum 90 if you're non-Spanish resident, okay? If you have less than that, it's fine. We can go to cheaper places like Gandia that Paul talked about, where we can find good flats for 100,000, around that, okay? So starting kit, savings, book a meeting with us if you wanna talk about that, get your NIE, get pre-approved in the mortgage, but we can explain that to you guys, and jump. Don't wait during 3 years browsing and scouting and doing nothing, because again, time is what works for you to get richer in real estate. So that really matters, okay? So don't hesitate to book a meeting with us. Once we start with you guys, we're gonna need maximum 2 months to be at an offer made on an apartment, okay? And then you do it again at your own rhythm. If you guys are fine with buying once every year or once every 2 years, it doesn't matter, it's up to you guys, but you need to think about, okay, zoom out. In 10 years from now, for sure you're gonna be in a much better financial situation if you start to build the passive income, okay? Flats to buy this week, I'll go quickly, but basically kind of flats that we present. This week we presented a tiny flat in Madrid for 135, very tiny flat, but some people want to buy this kind of flat, so we've just published it. So this is like rented for 700 per month. It's not the best yield, but it's a way to get a small flat, a first flat probably, in Madrid as a rental investment, okay? Gandia, 105,000 euro, 130 square meters, okay? So like that gives you an idea of, okay, you can go cheaper to other places and have much better yields if you go to cheaper cities, always the same thing, okay? And Valencia, one example, 190, 77 square meters, estimated rent 1,300, so in between these two options, okay? So yeah, that's it. Don't hesitate to visit the website also to join WhatsApp groups. We have one in French, one in English, one in Spanish, and that's it. Feel free to come and talk to us. All of the Terreta people, we have shirts with the Terreta logo, so we're easy to recognize. Okay? Thank you guys.
Thank you.